So yesterday I talked about Southwest Airlines. Have you been paying attention
yeah.
to seeing that? So Southwest Airlines, they're claiming that it's the weather, and that is absolute horse poop. All right. It's absolutely because they're mandating that they get the vaccination to continue working there. And I believe it's November 24th. They have until, so everyone's using their sick time, their vacation days. They're like, fine, if you're going to fire me by that point, by shoving something that is essentially authoritarian and you're mandating it, we're going to go ahead and not work. Peace. And they're striking. So good for them. Good for them. Now, I talked about it a lot yesterday, but I want to talk about that mandate. Okay. I'm going to show you guys and talk about Texas. Governor Greg Abbott bans government mandates on COVID-19 vaccines, regardless of whether they have full FDA approval or not. Yes. Thank you, Abbott. Thank you very much. Freedom. And for those of you who get all pissed off, oh, well, blah, 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 it's against the law. Jen Psaki, I'm looking at you. All right. It's not. And I'm going to show you guys why it's not. It's absolutely authoritarian and against freedom. All right. If you guys get so upset, does it work or does it not work? All right. I'm not a medical professional. I'm just asking a question. Does it work or does it not work? If it works, you're good. If it doesn't work, then we were right. And if it does work, then we're good. It's our right to choose whether or not we want to take the risks at all. As free human beings, we have that right. Again, I'm not a medical professional. I have to add that because of YouTube. But anyway, Greg Abbott, look at this. The order comes 2 days after the FDA granted full approval to the Pfizer vaccine. It doesn't keep private businesses from mandating vaccines for their workers, but public and private entities that receive public funds cannot require vaccination proof from customers. Okay. So it's not necessarily about where you work. It's more about if you're a customer, no one can ask you, which I don't know if I agree. I think it should have been all and not just kind of half-assed like it is here. But, you know, it's against the HIPAA laws that you can't ask me what I have in my, if I'm, no one's ever asked, hey, are you vaccinated for polio? It's like, well, the polio vaccine, by the way, took 50 years to perfect. I don't know if you knew that. And there was many, many years of terrible adverse effects that haunted human beings. All right, just letting you guys know.
Thanks, Gerald Ford.
Okay. I want to play this for you. This is Benny from Benny Johnson. He says, Psaki, talking about Greg Abbott, and this is her response. All right. And I'm just going to play this for you guys. I don't want to just add, I cannot stand this woman. I cannot stand this woman. Listen. Can you hear that? Can you hear that? I just want to make sure you can hear it.
I cannot hear it.
Okay, let me just restart this real quick.
Oh, sure.
Because I need you guys to hear this. You have to. Yeah, I have to add it in a specific way so I can sharing audio. Share audio. Okay.
That kind of the OSHA efforts essentially get tied up in litigation rather than having the immediate effect?
Well, Josh, these requirements are promulgated by federal law. So when the
first lie, hold on.
Yeah,
I gotta just stop her right there. That's all you needed to hear. She starts by responding, it's mandated by law. Okay, Jen Psaki, I can't stand the sound of your voice, and I am not going to subject my audience to your voice any longer than that. That's all you needed to hear. She starts by saying it's law. Well, guess what?
Yeah.
Guess what? It's not law.
Preach,
Jen Psaki. It's not. In fact, it isn't even an executive order, which she actually claims it to be as well later on in that spewing of trash as she does so eloquently all the time. Check this out. This is from The Federalist. Joe Biden's vaccine mandate doesn't exist. It's just a press release. That's it. It's a press release. We've heard all about Joe Biden's alleged vaccine mandates for private companies employing 100 people or more. It was all over the news even before he announced it on September 9th. His announcement has jeopardized the employment of millions of Americans and increased worker shortages in critical domains such as healthcare. There's only one problem. It's all a mirage. His so-called vaccine mandate doesn't exist. At least not yet. So far, all we have is his press conference and other such made-for-media huff-puffing. No such rule, even claiming to be legally binding, has been issued yet. That's why nearly 24 Republican attorney generals who have publicly voiced their opposition to the clearly unconstitutional and illegal mandate haven't yet filed suit against it. The office of the Indiana Attorney General confirmed for me there is no mandate to bring to court.
Yeah.
That may be part of the plan.
All right. So I've seen this before too, in person. This is mob tactics. This is gangster tactics. When I walk into someone's store and I say, it'd be a shame if something happened to this store, you're going to have to require a max. It'd be a bad thing if something happened to you if you didn't have this vaccine mandate. You can't sue me. I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. You can't take me to court. This is what the mob does. They'll imply a problem. But the thing is, you have our government pretty much has our industry by the cojones, and they know it. So anything could happen. They could have a completely unrelated executive order about, I don't know, OSHA or something else like that. Invite EPA. All of a sudden, you need governors on all your trucks. You can only go 30 miles an hour. All sorts of chicanery. This is mob tactics, pure mob tactics.
Those are some nice knees you got there. It would be a shame if something happened to him.
You could have a really bad fall, you know.
Okay, and you know what? I'm going to present this to you with no comment. All right? I present to you the fearless leaders that are pushing this stuff.
Mandatory, but I would do everything in my power, just like I don't think.
I got to start it over.
Mandatory, but I would do everything in my power, just like I don't think masks have to be made mandatory nationwide.
Oh.
Can we mandate vaccines across the country? No, that's not a role
that
the federal government, I think, even has the power to make.
We cannot require someone to be vaccinated. That's just not what we can do. It is a matter of privacy to know who is or who isn't.
Oh my gosh.
Definitely not. You don't want to mandate and try and force anyone to take a vaccine. We've never done that. We don't want to be mandating the federal government to the general population.
Oh, man.
Unenforceable.
I think it should be mandatory. I wouldn't demand it be mandatory.
Well, would you look at that? All these leaders trying to force it when they were claiming for a long time they can't do it. And guess what? Free American, all of you out there, they can't. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all just BS. They're mob tactics. Great line. You're right. That's what it is.
I would suggest looking beyond it being hypocrisy at this point, right? I'm like, you know, they're hypocrites. Everybody knows that, right? It's getting kind of old to say it.
Played out.
Here's something that just popped into my head. What I think they're doing is what Donald Trump would do externally to the United States. Everyone kind of think he's crazy, you know. I don't want to mess around with Donald Trump because I might find out, right? I feel like, are they doing that to us here? Are they just changing their minds, and that's actually part of the mind game? Is it like, what are they going to do tomorrow? What's it going to be like? Because once you capitulate once to someone who is going to oscillate and vacillate and change every rule every day, once you do it once, you're terrified to do it. Like, okay, I'm in his good graces. Then he makes an example out of a couple of people who don't go with the first one, which they've been doing.
Yep, exactly.
And it's obedience by being, the inconsistency is part of the tactic. I think here, I've dealt with people who are manipulative, who are really abusive. I think everyone has, and
that's basically all Democrats.
I feel like the Democrats are like, there's the owners, and then there's the scared masses, right? And then there's the cult members, and it's weird to like create the topology of this madness. Yeah. And I try to reach out to the cult members, and they're tough, man, because they can be just as vicious. I mean,
true.
I was just one of the masses before I got red pilled. This stuff does help. The stuff that you do does help. Everyone is going to find their Adam Krigler at some point, and one thing is going to break them. When they show up at the store and they don't see stuff there, and they keep seeing, like Psaki saying, everything's fine, nothing's bad, or they can't.
It's all Trump's fault.
Yeah. 3 years into the administration, it's like still Trump's fault. And if you can't fly out of Florida, and they're saying, the weather's bad, we can't fly out, and you're like, the weather's fine. Like, that is some 2 + 2 = 5 madness.
It's true. I called my friend. I was like, hey, how's the weather? He lives in Florida. He lives in Central Florida, not like down in Miami. You know, he lives like north of Orlando, I guess, you know, more higher up in the state. And he's like, it's beautiful here. It's the sun is shining. And yeah, they're so you know what? I want to show you guys. This is trending on Twitter. Hashtag freedom flu. And that's because, look, Texas banned vaccine mandates. Southwest is headquartered in Dallas. Who blinks first? Heyo. You see that? You see where we're at too? We're at a very pivotal moment. We're at a pivotal moment of standing up. Okay. We have the power, all of us. Now, I'm sure that I can't even, I'm sure it's against some sort of guidelines because I'm not telling you guys to do anything. Right. I'm not advocating for anything. Already, Washington Post wrote this article about me saying I'm some extremist show that are inciting extremism in my following. I don't know if you've ever watched my show or not, or know me in the slightest. I am 100% against violence. I don't want violence. I also don't want authoritarians controlling the world. Right. I want self-accountability. I want to work for myself. I want to, you know, be accountable for my actions. And there are so many.
That sounds like extremist talk, Adam.
Sure,
like being accountable to yourself.
If that's extreme, then sure, sure. That's the extreme side of me that I want to be accountable for my own actions, and I would hold others to that as well, which is just bonkers that we have to even say that we're not. You know, that's not just a normal thing that is innate in most people. Like, you do something, you should be held accountable for it. No, these people just blame it on others.